Chains of Fury is a fast-paced, score-based retro FPS with a comic book art style. You run through levels trying to chain kills as much as possible while keeping an eye out for secrets, then reach your bounty target, aka boss fight, and soon afterward are sent back to a small room that acts as basically a level select menu. I like parts of the game quite a bit, though there are some glaring issues that desperately need attention. The developer is still patching the game as of a few days ago, so hopefully some of the gripes I bring up in this video will be fixed in the near future. To start off on the positive side, I really like the art style. It is easily the game's strongest point. The combat is also very good with punchy weapons and some nice environmental interactions like being able to kick an enemy into wall spikes or acid puddles. The level design is also pretty good, surprisingly more so than you'd likely think while watching this video due to how corridor-like a lot of it appears. I'm usually not a fan of when boomer shooters go that route, but areas were easy to tell apart while playing, I never felt lost, and when the game needs to, it'll open up into larger, more interesting arenas. There's also a bit of a Metroidvania aspect to the game. Early on, I came across locked doors that prompted me to use stronger weapons or explosives to open them. Each door would break open with 2 explosive barrels, but that would require me to carry a barrel across the entire map for long stretches, and I thought the dev must be crazy if this was the intended method. Then I realized, no, it's not. As you chain kills and increase your score, you'll unlock new gear to collect at terminals around each level. I quickly unlocked a stronger kick that let me easily break the doors, as well as new weapons that could damage them. This is what I meant by there being a bit of Metroidvania in here, where you're incentivized to return to previous levels with newly unlocked gear to open up paths that were previously inaccessible. Most of these are just rooms filled with some more treasure though, so it depends heavily on if you enjoy the idea of playing through a level again to get higher scores and quicker finish times. Now, unfortunately, as I mentioned near the start of this video, the game has some issues that really bring the game down. The movement is incredibly slippery and imprecise. I felt like I was constantly fighting the movement. It didn't help that I'd occasionally get stuck on little bits of the environment like corners, pillars, or even some stairs where a few steps must have been slightly too tall and my character couldn't walk over them. Ladders might be the second most frustrating thing I experienced in the game. These are legitimately the worst ladders I've ever used in any video game. They are bizarrely slow to climb, you get stuck a bit at the top, and sometimes you won't even grab onto the ladder at all. Thankfully, you're told by the game that you have a double jump midway through the first level, so you won't really need to use ladders much at all after that. There were a few basic settings that felt sorely missed, like the lack of any way to adjust your FOV, and a default FOV of what feels like maybe 75 to 80 degrees. Crouch is bound to C by default, which would usually indicate the game uses toggle crouch instead of hold, but no, it's hold to crouch and there's no way to change that. The view distance is also strangely low for objects like decorations on shelves and desks, and some wall textures like graffiti. It's really obvious when they pop in and out of existence maybe 20 feet away. The game isn't graphically demanding, so I'm not really sure why this is the case. The AI is, frankly, really stupid. Some enemies will just stare at you and not move until you fire at them, often these enemies with pig faces. I'm guessing maybe their sprite is supposed to show them facing the other direction, but they're bugged? No idea. Other enemies will often get stuck on objects or stand still while you shoot at them from a distance. There are only 2 difficulties, easy and normal, unless higher difficulties unlock after you beat the game, perhaps? I played on normal and it felt way too easy due to the dumb AI and insane amounts of ammo you'll build up by the end of a level. I once ended a 15-minute level with over 600 shotgun shells, and that's with me using the shotgun almost the entire level. You'll unlock a grapple hook early on that you can use to zip between specific spots and levels and to pull enemies towards you. These are both nice ideas, but in practice they're finicky and the grapple distance is in desperate need of a buff. You have to be so close to a grapple spot that you might as well just double jump to them instead. None of the story dialogue is voiced, and the game is so fast-paced that I rarely was ever able to read what the character was saying in the top left throughout levels. Because of this, I have literally no idea what was happening in the story outside of the comic book intro. My last gripe is that the main character's voice is horrendous. You can hardly understand what he's saying, and he constantly repeats the same lines over and over and over during combat. I think I heard his second chances line upwards of 40 times in a 10-minute level.
I know you do second chances. second rounds. We don't do mercy, only men.
So overall, would I recommend Chains of Fury? As it currently is, maybe if it was on sale. But honestly, the comic book art style is really carrying the game here. If the developer can address some of the issues I've brought up, especially the movement, this would be an easy recommendation for any boomer shooter fans. Here's hoping the developer won't give up on the game and keep the patches coming. If you like this review, please check out my Steam Curator group where my best friend and I write reviews on other games. There's a lot of lesser known indie games in there that I think deserve more attention. I also do lists of cheap recommendations during some of the larger Steam sales.